So live racks, basically racks in Ableton Live are like channel strip settings and other programs and kind of like groups of things together. This is what the racks are. They're kind of groups of things together. So the drum rack is a group of, like, it's like a drum instrument where you can put different drum sounds. An instrument rack is some kind of a soft synth, an instrument, and then effects afterwards. And then an effect rack is just effects. And those are the three main types of racks that we've got here. So you've got drum racks, you've got instrument racks, and you've got effects racks. And that's basically the three racks. And they're all kind of related together. So let's start with instrument racks here. Instrument racks are pretty easy to understand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new track. And I'm going to go ahead in this new track, I'm going to grab an instrument. I'm going to grab analog and just drag it over. And this is analog just by itself. All right, so this is analog here. And it doesn't have any effects on it or anything like that. It's just kind of a basic analog sound. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down here and just do a little bit of changing of some stuff in here. Let's see here. I'm going to take this and it's going to filter one already. Great. I'm going to turn off this one here. Let's change this to a square wave. Turn my filter up. Turn the resonance down. Go. Let's go back over here and let's adjust our pulse width. There we go. Nice. Okay, that's a cool sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so it's not it's monophonic, so it's not polyphonic. Over here we can do voices 8. Let's make it mono. You can hear how everything cuts off the one. Cool, let's make it actually duophonic. That way we can hear the tail of each one. Okay, cool. So that's a pretty decent little, fun little sound, super basic. I'm gonna turn my frequency down here a little bit, and I'm gonna give each sound a little bit of a point. And the point, there we go. So a little bit cool like that. And let's go back over here. Like plucky sounding. And let's see, anything else that we want to do to this right now? Not too much, because I don't want to go too overboard on it. The amplifier here, let's adjust our decay and our release so they're about the same. Awesome. Okay. So we have that sound there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some effects onto the sound. I'm going to delete my utility here. And let's put a chorus on here. Go to my audio effects. And we'll go in here and put a chorus under modulators. No, not modulators. Let's see, where does choruses live now? Pitch and modulation. There we go. Chorus ensemble. There we go. Awesome. If I want to pull up a preset, I can pull up a preset here. Some weird ones in here. Okay, that one sounds pretty good. Now, if I want to make this like kind of a standalone thing that sounds good in its own right, I would add some reverb and some delay to it as well inside of it here. So let's go ahead and do that. Just make sure, okay, I just want to make sure we're still recording everything. Everything sounds good and looks good. So let's go ahead and put a little reverb directly into it and maybe some, let's see here, we're going to use the hybrid reverb, which is new for Ableton Live 11. Go in here and say piano hall. There we go. What is up, Freddie? Now, usually I would say do not put the reverb directly onto a track like this, and I always say that. But when you're making an instrument like this, if you want to make it sound good right out of the box, so it sounds polished, this is what people will do to it, is they'll kind of add reverbs and stuff onto it. Now, let's also add a little bit of, let's fatten it up a little bit and go into our drive and color. Let's use Saturator here. I'm going to put Saturator before the ensemble. To this one, let's change. Turn the output down. Nice, that sounds pretty good there. And what else could we add into here? Want a little crackle? You want to distort it down a little bit? Erosion. That here. A little bit of that. Pull it down a little bit. Gives a little bit of like a little bit of subtle dirt in there to kind of gonna get a little bit of character. Let's hear what that sounds like before the saturator. I kind of like it before the saturator a little bit more because that saturator is kind of saturating it, distorting it a little bit. Okay, so we have all these sounds in here. Now what we're gonna do are these effects. Rather, do not eat my chips. I had to, when I did the break, I had to wake up the dog, which I did not really want to do, but whatever, we did it, and now she's awake. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to highlight all these ones I just did. I click on the first one, I hold down Shift, and I'm going to click on the last one over here, and I'm going to hit Command G. And what that does is it puts everything together, and over here, I can see my instrument rack here. So if I click on any one individual instrument, I can click on the individual effects or whatever, but I can also click on the instrument rack as a whole. And now with this instrument rack as a whole clicked on, I can actually control anything in here. But before I even do that, what I can do is I can go in here and I can give it a name. Let's call this one Pluck Warm, because it's like a warm, I'll just call it Pluck, Big Pluck. Big Pluck. We'll call it Big Pluck. And I just named it Big Pluck. Here, hold on a second, let me untangle the dog. There we go. Puppy, stop being tangled up. So in here, now what I can do is I can assign things to these macro knobs here. So I can save this, save it here, boom, save it, and now it saves everything with everything. So I can recall this as my own instrument now. So it comes over here, my instrument rack. I know I saw a few of you did the browser setup. And if you did the browser setup correctly and you made an Ableton plugins folder, then you can put your sounds that you make in here. So for example, I've got this over here, I've got bass, and like if I want to pull up a 808 bass, well, I can't pull it up right now because it's, don't eat that, because it's, come on, pup. I can't pull up an 808 bass sound now because I don't have that hard drive connected to my computer. But here, let's see here. Simple bass spread. So if I wanted to, I could pull up my track here. What are you eating? I don't like you. I don't want you eating that, babes. Her mouth is full of leaves. Ugh. All right, so let's make another track real quick so I can just show you something I've made in the past. I can do simple bass spread, boom, and this should pull up some instruments that we can actually use. Yeah, so here's this, and it's got this analog in here, and it's got an auto filter, and it's got glue compressor, it's got EQ8, it's got all the stuff in here, and at the end it's got micro shift, which is a third-party plugin. If I click on it here, we can hear what that one sounds like. Right, that's just a sound that I made a while back. And you can save all your sounds in here and recall them at any point. So that's a really good way to work with this. Why are you biting me so much? She's grumpy. She wants to go back to sleep, but she doesn't know that she wants to go back to sleep. Puppy grumpy problems. So what you do is you just name it and you click the little disc here to save it. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to assign some things over here to my macro controls. So first of all, I'm going to right click anything that's in the group. I can right click on it and I can go map to macro 1 through 16. Now 16 is new for Live 11. It didn't used to be 16. It used to be only 8. But they raised it up to 16, and they also added some other really cool features. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my amplifier over here. I'm going to adjust my decay and my release to the same thing. My decay and my release to the same one, number 3 there. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to let's add in some more noise. Let's go to our saturator. Let's add in some more drive. And then let's go here to this one here and do more the ensemble. Let's do more reverb here. There we go. So now we have these mapped, and when they're mapped, it's going to show you what they are over here. You might want to name them. So I'll go over here and I'll name this one filter frequency, and here is filter resonance. And this one was my release. This one here was the noise amount. I'm just hitting Command R. This one here was the saturator drive. This one here was my reverb amount. And I think that's it. So I can hit the plus or minus buttons to show or hide more or less of them, and I only need to see 6 of them, so we're good there. And now, let's go back over here so I can hear my sound. I can actually turn these knobs to change. I can turn my knobs to change what my sound sounds like. So, where am I there? So you hear how different that sounds? And I can set up different sounds in here, and this is also new for live. Hold on, let me just change this. There we go. Okay, so here's something that's really cool. I can click on this little plus button here and I can click new. This is for variations. They call it variations. It's basically like snapshots in Reactor. And I can click on this. I can click and I can call soft. And let's make a new one here. Make a new one here and we'll call this one long. And now I can go between these really easily. Which is super, super, super cool. I've been using this a lot for putting together like new instruments to make my productions a lot quicker and more streamlined whenever I find some sounds, even like kick drums and stuff like that I like. I've been putting them in here, setting up my macros, and then setting up variations in here. I love this feature. I didn't think I was gonna like, I thought the main feature I was gonna like about Live 11 was gonna be the playlists. But I think this feature is one of my favorite features. I do like the playlists. I think they're great. But this feature right here, this variations and the macro variations, super, super dope. So this is a new thing for our instrument racks. And so what I'm going to do is I've got this here. Let's save this. Boom. And I hit return. Even if it's going into the same folder, I'm going to hit return. It says, hey, this already exists. Do you want to overwrite it? Yes, I want to overwrite it. It's fine. And what I can do is I can take this. I'm going to drag it over here into my Ableton plugins library. Right here. And I'm going to say, let's go into our instruments here. And there we go. Now it's in our instruments. Big pluck. Cool. And what I can do with this is I can save it up here in my instruments up here. I can take it and drag it in here and I'll put it up here into my collections here. So this is a super, super cool thing to do with your racks. It's basically, the steps are, you make a sound with the effects and stuff after it. Then you highlight everything. Command G to make it into a rack. You go and you set up some macros and stuff like that. You save it. You give it a name. You save it, and then you've got it to pull it back up later on. So great way to work. It does take a little bit of time to set it up initially, but once you're done setting it up, it'll make your future life so much easier. Future you will definitely thank past you. Present you, however you want to say that. All right, so that's all listed right here. Command G, Command R, macros, macro button, all that stuff there. If you want a Midi Map Parameters, now this works for the macros as well. If I go in here and I click Map, it allows me to map things. I have a lot of problems with this crashing my Ableton Live, so I just right click on it to map stuff. But once you've got things mapped up, you can adjust how much you want things to move. So for example, I don't need my amp decay to be 15 seconds. I could have it be a lot less than that. Let's have it be like 4 seconds. Oops. So I can have both of these be set to like basically the same number there. I can have my reverb, my saturator drive amount be set for, let's set this to 0. I don't need that to be set for 36, and this one here to be set for, I don't know, 16. And you can set the high point and the low point. You can even flip the high point and the low point, so turning it makes it opposite. I'm not going to go into all the cool things you can do with that, but there's a lot of cool things you can do with that, and I recommend that you explore that stuff. Now, MIDI mapping works basically the same way. With my keyboard here, let me just show you the keyboard. There we go. This keyboard is the Arturia Minilab MK2. I like this keyboard because it's all black, like my techno heart. But it feels good. The keyboard feels good. I got the black one just because I like the colors on it. But I don't think they actually make the black one anymore. It was like a thing they had with Guitar Center 1 year, and I don't think they're making it anymore. But they have other, they have the regular colors and stuff. But this one does work in line with Ableton Live. And so what it means is basically you see this hand that's right here. If this hand is up and I have it set into Ableton Live mode on the Arturia, then I can just like turn the knobs and it'll automatically turn these macros that are here. So you can set things up really well. It's actually got 16 knobs, and so I can use up to 16 macros with this thing. It's great. I really like it a lot. I also use my Ableton Push 2 every day. Oh, you got the same one in white? Great. Yeah. Oh, that's what I recommended for you, right? Yeah. So, and it comes with all the cool synthesized synths and stuff like that, all the Arturia stuff. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you were able to get one of these. It's one of my favorites. This one and the Akai ones are also really good. I really like the Akai keyboards. The problem I have with the Akai keyboards really is if you're new to all this stuff, the Akai keyboards don't come with as good software as the Arturia ones. The Arturia ones come with a software that's amazing. So for any newbies, I recommend the Arturia Midi Lab MK2. But then for people who are more advanced with stuff, if you've already got a few things and you just need something to kind of carry around with you, throw it in your backpack, whatever, it costs $100. So like if you break it, it's not the end of the world. Then I think this one's great. But if you've already got stuff, then maybe if you're looking for a bigger keyboard that's like juicier and has better feel and maybe some better knobs, then maybe the Akai stuff. I really like the Akai keyboards. All right, so that is an instrument rack. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to it. You can add more instruments into it in the notes. And this is something, in the notes here, it does talk about you can use multiple instruments within it. So let's go ahead and just show you that real quick. So if I go in here and I say, I open up this little button right down here, I click on it, I can actually drag more sounds in here. All this stuff is in my analog rack. Let's go ahead and move some stuff around a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag in a third-party synth. Let's drag in Diva. Let's use Diva. Diva's a great analog modeling synth. Drag it in right here. Diva's fantastic. I really like Diva a lot. Let's go ahead and grab a preset that's like a basic sound. Is it possible to customize the sounds to the pads with Ableton? Yes, but you have to do it in Ableton, not in the program. You have to just drag your samples around. Honestly, I wouldn't waste my time doing that. I think it's kind of a waste of time to worry about putting things on the pads. It's fun. It's more of a gimmick than anything else. You don't need to use the pads. What you can do is you can set it up, because actually if you use the Midi Lab with Ableton Live in Ableton mode, the pads become transport and they start and stop things. So if I hit like one of my, I can use it to start and stop my here in here. I can use it to start and stop different clips and stuff like that. So you can use it for like transport options and things like that. I don't remember what the settings are because I never really used it for that, but you can use it for different things. And so the pads aren't really drum pads, they're more transport pads and stuff like that. But it's up to you. If you want to do it, you can, but it means you're gonna have to, basically it means if you're trying to use your drum racks with the pads, you're gonna have to constantly be shifting the instruments around the drum racks. I would recommend just using them with the keys on the keyboard. Anyway, so let's go in here. Let's go and grab a sound. Let's see, which one was the one? Treasure Trove is really good. Transitions, UA Philharmonica, Excellence 2013. No, EcoBank, FMR, Hardware Factory. Okay, this one's got some cool ones here. Piano. Okay, so let's just say it's got this goofy piano in here. Oh, here, let's use this gamelan thing. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna mute my other one. There we go. So let's say we want to layer this in with this other one here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I am going to take all these sounds here and move them over to outside of my instrument rack for a second. I just click and drag them over. And now in here, actually, I forget. How do you do this? I want them to be on the outside of everything, but I'm actually not sure that you can do it the way I was thinking you could do it or the way I wanted to do it. Here, where's my I/O section here? I'm thinking like a drum rack, but I'm thinking maybe the drum rack part doesn't really work the way I wanted it to. Nope. I'm thinking drum racks right now. And maybe the instrument rack doesn't work the same way as the drum rack. Yes, the order definitely dictates the signal flow. Left to right. Yep. All right, so I'll just put this back in here. And that's kind of annoying. Well, here, we can group all this stuff together, actually. I can have a group within a group. So I guess that's just the way we'll do it there. And I'll move some of these around over here. So what I did was I put this group inside of another group so I can have all my effects in here after both of them. So I want this plucky sound to be there, and I also want the diva analog, both of my plucks to be in here. Awesome. And what I would do is I would go ahead and actually add these. Here, let's edit the macro. It's not that one. I'm gonna unmap these to things. Okay, so okay, cool. That worked. Oh, so it automatically did it for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and map this to macro. Well, here, let's do this. Unmap all these. So I've got a group within a group right now, and so what it does, it's kind of like, yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and map this. Oh, okay, I can't, that's interesting. I can't map it. How about if I do this? Oh, okay, so you can map, I see. Here, let's do this then. So I can map this to macro 1. I can map this to macro 2. So it's all the same thing. I can map this to the macro 3, my release. I can map this one to macro 4. Awesome. So I got the noise amount there, my saturation drive. Okay, but these are not actually, there's nothing on this one right now, I don't think. Yeah, there's nothing on this one here. Because it's not, yeah, it's not actually mapped in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one out on map. Boop. And now I'm going to map these over to that macro. So release this one here, the drive. And my dry wet for this here. Boop, there we go. Cool. And now this one here, I'll just get rid of. There we go. So now we've got all these set up here. What I'd want to do though is I need to map these into my diva as well. And to do that, it takes a little bit more because you got to configure it and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more going on with when I want to map it to diva. So if I want to do this, go in here to my main, and let's say I've got my this one here. That's pretty cool sounding. So let's go ahead and map that attack and the decay. And what I'd have to do, if you're in a third-party synth, what I do is I go over here and I click configure. And I click on what I want to configure in here. And it automatically puts it in there over here. And I can map this stuff in. So now this one here could be mapped to my release. This one could also be mapped to my release. So now that one knob is controlling 4 different things on 2 different synthesizers. So if I go in here and I go to my release, there we go. There we go. So now, and we can see how that works there. Cool. Oh, you can do some neat stuff in there. But we'll talk more about that kind of stuff when we talk about synthesizers, sound design and stuff like that. I just want to give you like a little bit of an overview here of that. So like you see, you can have racks within racks. And now these two here, if I wanted to, I can actually have another knob that controls these. So I'll go over here, I'll add a plus so I can get 8 in here. And with this one here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to add that to macro 7, chain selector. And now what this does is I'm going to take this and drag this one over to here and drag it back like this. And this one, I'm going to drag it over like this, and I'm going to have a little crossover in the middle here. Like this. So now if I move knob 7 here, wait, let me adjust it to that one. There we go. Okay, so if I move knob 7 here, there we go. You can see I'm adjusting the chain selector here, and I can change the amount of my sound. I can actually adjust the sound and how it sounds. Let's go ahead and move this over a bit more. Make it a nice long gradual slide. There we go. Yeah. Sweet. Oops, go back over to here. Go back over to here. Cool. Let me hide the chain here. So we can see that's doing like that. And what I did to get to this is I just had the two sounds in here grouped together in the group here. And to see this part here, you just look down here. There it is. Boom, boom. It says drop an instrument. So I just dropped an instrument in there. And then you unhide, you show the chain, and you just drag these things around, and then you can, if you mouse up to the top, you can drag this part around, and it allows you to set up like a crossfade between these instruments. And so I can just adjust my macro knob there. So I can change the color of the sound. Pretty cool stuff, I think. I like it anyway. And that's what you can do with instrument racks. So here, let's call this one Mega Pluck. The other one was the Big Pluck. This one's the Mega Pluck. Put it down here in my plugins. Drop it into the instruments. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So I've got that saved now. Great. Now let's go ahead and delete that. And let's add in just an effect track. Now effects tracks are basically the same. It's just effects. So for example, if I have a few effects that I want to use together, I can go in here to my audio effects, and you can use third-party plugins for this as well. But let's say I want to use Saturator, and let's say I want to use, let's make it like a kind of a distorty thing. Let's use Saturator and Redux and Pedal. Pedal was pretty cool as well. And the order does matter here. Monique, you asked that earlier. The order does matter. And I'm just going to group these together. I'm going to hit Command G to group them. Pull up the macro knobs here. And now with this, let's see my bells. Let's solo out the bell. So you can hear how distorted they sound. So what I can do here is turn some of these on and off with my macros here. For example, I can right click and go to macro on off here. So they can all be on. I can rename these, Command R, Saturator on, Redux on, and this one is Pedal on. There we go. So I got those three on and off right there. And if I just go here, I can adjust these to be on off like that. There we go. So okay, and now I can have some other things be down here, so I can set my drive to be here. Let's change this to 3. I can have my drive be number 4, and I can have my rate. Let's do the bit depth here be number 5. Let's have the gain be number 6. You can see it's all right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my drive. So like that, more or less. I can turn it off. Turn on my Redux. You can hear some cool sounds there. Turn on my pedal. Okay, cool. Now what we may want to do is we may want to have it so when the saturator, the drive increases, the output decreases, and same thing with this pedal here. So what we can do is we can say the output here is going to go to my drive here, and the same thing is going to happen with the pedal. The gain and the output are going to go to the same one, the gain here, boom. So now check this out. This is really cool. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to map, the M button here. And on number 4 here, macro 4, the output, I'm going to have it so it shifts it down. So I'm going to start at, where does it start at? Let's start at minus 10. And go to minus 36. So the higher number is going to be below the lower number, or the maximum is going to be below the minimum, because when you turn it to the right, it's going to go to the left. So you got to set it up to be opposite. And then the pedal over here, macro 6, the pedal output, same thing. We're going to have it set for, so it just flips basically. We're going to say the loudest you can be is 0, and the lowest you can be is minus 20. We'll just flip it basically, or well, not flipped exactly, but like this. So let's go ahead and unclick that. So now when I move this here, wait, not that one. When I move this one, you can see they're kind of both moving. You can see the drive and the output are both moving. So I go over here and I turn my saturator on. Now there we go. And let's set that up. And we can actually set this in real time. So you can see that there. I can make it so it's a little bit louder even when it's like soft by adjusting this when I'm playing it. Cool. Let's turn that one off. Let's go over to the Redux. Not that one, the pedal. And the pedal, same type of thing. Because we wanted to get that tone without being crazy loud. There we go. Some really interesting stuff here. Cool. And we can save this. Let's turn all these off. And we can save this. Let's rename it. Let's call this one Gritty Goodness. And save it. Oops. Save it. Gritty Goodness. And there we go. So that's a pretty cool little setup that we can do there. All right, and that's an effect rack. And then finally, for our drum racks, the drum racks are kind of combining all these things together. So let's go over here. Let's go into our drum groups over here. And wait, let's Let's turn this off. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do in here is we're going to make a new drum rack. Let's go ahead and make a new MIDI track. I'm going to put a drum on here. I'm going to get rid of the utility here. I'm going to put on here a drum rack, an empty drum rack. Go up here to drum rack, drag it onto the track. Boom, change the color so I don't freak out here. I'm going to go ahead and put it to my drum group. There we go. So now we got everything set up. We're good to go. This is an empty drum rack. So now if I want to make my own drum rack, it's as easy as just dragging sounds in here. So I say, okay, I want a kick drum first. Let's grab this one and drag it down to C1. Boom. And now let's go grab a hand clap. There you go. That's a cool one. Let's grab that and put it down here on D#1. And if you mouse over these, it'll tell you what it recommends that you put on it. Let's go ahead and grab a snare. There we go. That one's pretty cool. Put that right there. Let's put a hi-hat in here. Scroll down, there's a bunch of hi-hats. I kind of like that one. I'm gonna put that on F sharp. And let's put an open hi-hat on here as well. Hi-hat, is there open hi-hats? Let's see here. Let's do a search for open. There we go. Let's use this one here for an open hi-hat. Boom. And a couple of bongos or toms. Let's see. Let's use a tom. Let's use an 808 tom. Yep, here, we'll grab this low one here. We'll put the low one on the F. And we'll put the mid one on the G. And the high one on the A. Where am I? I'm the octave up. And now, if I play this, I've got all these different sounds in here. Let's put some side sticks in here as well. So we'll go in here to rim shots. There we go. I like that one. Drag that on here onto C sharp. And you can see once I drag it in, what it does is it creates a new simpler instrument in here. So basically each one of these cells can be its own rack of instruments and effects. Every single one of those cells can be its own instrument rack, basically. Every single one of them, like I'm not exaggerating there, there's 128 cells and each cell can have its own instrument with its own effects. The cool thing about this is that the instruments it can have can be third-party instruments, synthesizers, and stuff like that. So for example, if I want to put something on this one up here, let's go ahead and grab a third-party instrument. Let's grab this Diva. And let's go into Diva and find a percussion sound, percussive. Grain pluck. There we go. And now I've got this in here. I want to change that so it's in the key of G. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to my I/O section. Go down here. There we are. Play a G. There we go. So now, Yep, so I can play that. I've got this like cool sounds in there. And because it's a synth, I can go in here and I can mess around with it and add all sorts of stuff into it. Or, I mean, so I can like tweak it, you know, because it's a synth. There we go. Let's take off that plate. There we go. I like that one better. The other one was like a little bit whack. Let's add the... Meh. There we go. Cool. So now... drum rack I just made. Pretty dope stuff, right? I think so. This stuff is all in the notes right here. All the stuff drum racks, and it's not very long in the notes. You can drag samples into any of the pads. When you do this, a simpler instrument is automatically created to hold the sample. Each pad is its own chain of instruments and effects. All the stuff I talked about using a synth in the drum rack, it's all right here for you to read about. Or you can just watch this a whole bunch of times and see what I did, or you can ask me questions about it. So basically, that's racks. There's 3 racks, like I said. There's the instrument racks, there's the effect racks, and there are the drum racks. And they're all related to each other, so you're not relearning the wheel. If you start with the instrument racks and kind of learn the instrument rack and you're like, okay, I got this, all the other racks are exactly the same. The effects racks are just the instrument rack without the instrument, and the drum racks are just all the instrument racks into a drum rack, so they're all assigned to keys on a keyboard. Now, going back to what Elon asked earlier, can you take your samples and have them across keyboards? Well, not exactly, not the way Elon was maybe thinking about it, but Elon, if you wanted to take this bongo sound, for example, and play it on different sounds, on different pitches, all I have to do is make a new bongo rack, a new MIDI track, and just take this bongo sound, which one is it? This one here, and just drag this simpler instrument onto this MIDI track here, and now I've got it on keys on my keyboard. And it's as easy as that. So it's actually not hard to do. I know, maybe you're like, oh, I want to do it the way I want to do it, but forget about it. It doesn't matter, because you can just quickly drag it onto another track and go. It's actually faster than trying to set it up in an MPC or in FL Studio or on Machine. Machine, it's not super, I know how to do it on the MPC and a Machine. It's not super hard, but it's also not hard here. So I don't know, whatever. It's all the same stuff. It's potatoes and potatoes at the end of the day. You can do it with all these things. So let's do this. Let's stop here. I'm going to stop the recording.